Thank you very much. I'm so delighted to be here, and I'm honored to be part of this very committed, passionate group. I want to tell you my story, but I know from the rest of the day that my story is one of many stories. But my story starts in Nebraska, just 3 hours from here in 2000. I was diagnosed with breast cancer. This is my family at that time. So you can see I had a lot to live for. I had 3 fine sons, a wonderful husband. I wanted to make sure that I could do everything I could to make sure that I would live to see them grow up. So I had chemotherapy at the local oncology office. Everything seemed to go well, but within 6 months, I had a recurrence. At that time, I was diagnosed with hepatitis C, and we found that I was one of 99, and we all contracted it because the nurse reused syringes to access a multi-dose vial of saline. In the morning, the saline bag would be clear, but by afternoon, it was cloudy pink with bits of sediment in it. So 99 Nebraskans contracted this disease. I chronicled all this in a book I wrote with a medical malpractice lawyer called A Never Event. And the A Never Event comes from that term that this should never have happened. It was a preventable incident. But we're not the only ones, believe it or not. This didn't happen just one time, a long time ago in Nebraska, but it continues to happen, and the CDC has recently published an article that shows in the past 10 years in the United States of America, there have been 130,000 Americans who have gotten a letter from their health department saying you are at risk for bloodborne pathogens or bacterial diseases because of reuse of syringes or other medical equipment intended for one-time use. This is not a third world country we're talking about. We're talking about here in the United States. 620 patients have been actually diagnosed. So my husband and I looked at all this and said, we need to do something about this. We have to empower a culture of safety. So we funded, using my medical malpractice award, Honor Reform, which stands for Hepatitis Outbreaks National Organization for Reform. And our mission is to safeguard the medical injection procedure, so that every injection is a safe one. Here's some of the work that we do in Honor Reform. We give presentations to professional organizations and consumer groups to educate about safe injection practices. We speak in a number of places throughout the country. In the states that have had outbreaks, often they put up a piece of legislation in their state house, and we provide testimony and we bring the patient voice to that, because often experts don't bring that patient needs to it. Recently, the CMS has been lobbied to provide reimbursement for reuse of single-dose vials. We know that's often a vector, so we've provided testimony for that. We advocate on Capitol Hill. We've been able to secure funding for this educational program I'll talk about. And we also collaborate with the FDA, CDC, and so forth. In Nevada, which was the location of a very large outbreak, even larger than Nebraska, we are launching a campaign there specifically to educate the providers and to reassure the public that they are using safe injection practices. And that's just being kicked off recently, and we're really delighted about that. We requested a GAO report, and the GAO did take that on. They've recently released that report, and it looked at all of the outbreaks around the country, the causes and possible cures for that problem, what we can do to leverage what we have to prevent those outbreaks. We're proud to be a sponsor and an organizing member of the Safe Injection Practices Coalition. It's a collection of about 20 organizations, both professional and industry partners, that have pulled together an educational campaign called the One and Only Campaign. And the purpose of that is to educate providers about safe injection practices and to empower patients to demand those kinds of safe injection practices in their care. There's lots of resources available at oneandonlycampaign.org. And I really urge you to take a look at that, because there's lots of things that you can use in your work as patient safety advocates. So here we are now, and this is our family, and I'm so delighted and very profoundly grateful that I'm able to see my oldest get married in a month. My middle son and his wife are having our first grandchild in December, and our youngest is getting married next May and graduating from medical school. So we want to make sure that what we were able to live to see, everyone can, and we want to prevent those outbreaks throughout the country. So thank you very much.